Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on HROnboard's Strawberries and Cream release. My name is Peter Forbes, and together with Belinda Ralston we'll be taking you through the new features we have in this release, which is hitting production on the 31st of March, which is next Tuesday. Just a couple of little housekeeping things before we start. You've got a little control panel there. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. So if you've got any questions, feel free to use the little raise hand icon. Type in any questions you have, and we'll get back to you. We are also recording this webinar, so it'll be up on our blog later. So the people in this webinar today is myself, Peter Forbes. I'm the Managing Director of Navigo and the founder of HROnboard. I lead a great bunch of people internally who are our experts in this area. I'm kind of the ideas guy, and then I leave smarter people to go and actually do the work. And I really hate traditional enterprise software, and hopefully with HROnboard we're doing something different to what so many organizations are used to in terms of enterprise HR applications. With me, joining me today is Belinda Ralston. Welcome, Belinda.
Thank you, Pete.
Belinda is our HROnboard product manager. She's played many roles in Navigo. Now at HROnboard, she coordinates the development and consulting teams for HROnboard. She translates between the kind of business requirements we have of what we want to do with the software, and implements those into what you see in the product. She hacks a lot of CSS and HTML in the development room with the development guys, and she loves her testing tools, of which we've used a new one for this release, to make sure our testing and the quality of the product is pristine. And Belinda will today be taking you through a bit of a product demo of HROnboard. So, we've done a lot of releases with HROnboard over the last, say, 18 months or nearly 2 years, I think, since we've had it. You might notice there's a certain theme with our releases. We like our lollies. So believe it or not, this is our 8th release of the product, our Strawberries and Cream. We had a smaller release in February, our Love Heart release. But really, Strawberries and Cream is our biggest release to date. It has the most changes, hence why we want to show you in this webinar and run you through some of those. Just to give you a quick explanation of where HROnboard as a product is going, and we'll talk about a little bit more of this at the end of the webinar. A lot of you will probably notice that, we've always been onboarding around the employee onboarding process with the job offer construction and approval, and the notifications, and then that portal that candidates log into to accept their offer. More recently, we've extended the application to then allow to process contract updates and also offboarding type events in the system. And really, we've gone through a little bit of a repositioning about what HROnboard does, and we're starting to describe it more as an employee lifecycle event management type of application. And what that means is the big events in an employee lifecycle, which is them coming on board to an organization and also leaving. In between, for a lot of organizations, they need to renew their contract, or they need some sort of proof of acceptance event, whether that's new policy changes or things of that nature. And HROnboard is starting to be able to cater for these really big events in the employee's life. So today we're here to talk to you about Strawberries and Cream and take you through some of the highlights of that. Before we dive into the demo, just a brief kind of overview. We have a new look to the application, to what our customers use every day. The candidate portal, what candidates and employees log into to accept offers. That's basically remained the same visually. It's really that back office interface has really changed a lot. We'll go through some of the search capability using search filters. We'll introduce you to our analytics, which is in its infant stages, but it's growing. We've done a lot of work around user security and permissions, which is really powerful and very good. We'll introduce you to the event file, what we call the event file, so you can view an offer, look at the details and see where it's up to. And Belinda will also take you through some other nice things with the application. So Belinda, without further ado.
Thanks, Pete. Okay, so basically I want to start off with the login screen because the login screen is different to what it was previously. And I know some of you may have been thinking, oh, it hasn't got my logo on it, it looks a bit different. There's a bit of a different concept with the login screen. So if you're a normal user logging into HROnboard, so you're going to create an offer, review an offer, or your payroll, you'll get this screen now, which is a generic HROnboard login screen. However, all your new hires or employees are logging in to accept an offer will still have the branded login screen. So there's basically two login screens now. On the login screen, we've got the forgot your password functionality, which has always been there. But if we have a look at the forgot your password screen now, there's a couple of nice new things about the forgot your password functionality. The first one is that now you can enter not only your username, but also your email address to reset your password. So we found, especially with a lot of the new hires, you know, they were getting confused with what their username was and there was a bit of confusion there. So we've added this functionality in so they could enter either, and it's going to do the reset for them. Another really nice feature is now there is a bit more validation on this screen. So if the user types in an incorrect email address and tries to reset their password, you're actually going to get an error message now saying it's invalid. So I think that's going to make it a lot easier to now know if you're not getting emails, which previously you weren't getting emails and just didn't know what was going on. You'll actually get this validation now. And lastly, with the forgot your password functionality as well, is that you'll actually get an email sent to you with a link in it. And not until you click the link in the email will it actually reset your password. So previously, if you just typed in your username and hit reset my password, it would reset it straight away. This way you actually have to click on the link in the email, which obviously just makes that a lot more secure, a more secure process as well. Okay, so now we've talked about the forgot your password functionality, we might get straight into the interface. I'm going to log in as Rick. Rick is our demo HR user who can basically create offers, and he's got a few extra access things as well, which I'll go through. Okay, so as Pete mentioned, this is our new look. I'm going to run through a few of the different areas here. So we're going to start at the top with the menu bar. So we now have the home page, and this is a home page you can see at the moment. This was previously the dashboard for those of you very familiar with the previous way. Just go back up.
Sorry.
That's all right. The next tab across, we've got analytics, and we're going to come back to that in a moment. But then further to the right, we've got the create button. If we just hover over that create button, you can see we've got the different types. So now you can basically go from this create button to just choose onboard, contract, update, or offboard. And that's the same as on the create button on the actual home page as well, just to the right. Yep, same thing there. The search has also been moved to the menu bar. So now you can search directly from there, which we'll do in a moment. And we've also got a link to the help. Now if we click on that, you can see we've got links to the online help, which will take you to our HROnboard user guide or HUG. A link to support desk, which lets you raise a support ticket. And then the what's new. And this what's new, we're basically going to update every release with the latest changes that have been put in, so you can have you can see all that information on the fly. Close that one down. And you'll also notice in the top right hand corner we've got a handsome guy there, Rick. So basically we've added in the functionality to be able to upload have photo functionality in there, which I'll show you in a moment. But this is where you can access your profile, edit your profile, and also log out of the application. So we'll come back to that in a bit more detail later. Okay, so at the top of the page we've got notifications. So this is another new feature where we can basically convey some information to you about the latest things that have happened. So in this environment at the moment, you can see that we've got strawberries and cream that's been released, and we've got links to our release notes, so you can see that information if you want to. We're planning to use this as a place where we can tell you about if there's any scheduled system outages that may be occurring, any releases that have been happening. If we've got a question and answer session, a Q&A session as we call them, or webinar or something else that may be of interest to you, this is just a way we can let you know about that coming up as well. Okay, scrolling down a little bit, we've got the to-do section. Now this is similar to before. This is basically showing everything that you have to do at the moment, and Rick's a very busy man. He's got lots of things to do. Probably the main change here is we've added in the event type column. So now you can actually see if this is supposed to be an onboard, a contract update, or an offboard type. So hopefully that makes it a lot easier for you if you've got the multiple modules to be able to see that information. Okay, so if we scroll down a bit further, we now have this new section, active. So some of you may be familiar with the recent section, where we say goodbye to that, and active is a new replacement basically. Active events shows you everything that the team is currently working on. So this will basically be everything besides offers that have been processed or closed, deleted or declined. So it's going to be everything that people are working on at that point in time. Now this table also has a nice new column on the right hand side as well, which is the with column. So this shows you who is basically responsible at this point in time for taking this offer to the next stage. So you can see that the offer sents have been gone off with the new hire, whereas the first review is with Frank at the moment. So that's waiting on Frank to review before it gets to the next stage. And then if we scroll down to the very bottom, Pete, in the footer, I just wanted to highlight that on the left hand side we've got some links to our blog and online help and support desk that have been added in. But on the far right hand side we've got a link to what environment you're currently in and your company name. So this will be valuable for you when you're comparing the trial environment to the production environment. You'll be able to see that one environment will have the trial there, whereas production we just have it blank with your company name displayed. Okay, so I'm going to get you to, we're going to flip back to some stages and we're going to talk about stages a little bit more. Between those. So you probably noticed in the to-do and also the active that some of the stages look a bit different to what they did previously. So I'm going to run through with you what those changes are. Yep. Sorry, we're just having some technical difficulties at the moment. We'll bring that up on screen in 1 second.
Okay, exit full screen. That's fine.
Here we go. So the first column, previous stages, is what I'm sure everyone is used to. These are the stages that have been HROnboard for quite a while, the last 18 months or so. And on the right hand side is the new ones, basically Pardus, Strawberries and Cream. So we've reduced the number of colours to hopefully make it a bit clearer exactly what stage you're in. And we've also renamed a few of them as well. Probably the biggest one to note is the with payroll for processing is now accepted offer. So we've taken away the concept of saying who it's currently sitting with and basically saying what status it's actually in, and that is that the new hire has accepted the offer. So that's probably the biggest name change compared to the others. Other than that, it's just a colour change. So we just wanted to let everyone know about those changes to stages, because if you're used to seeing a particular colour for a different stage, this is basically what that translation is. Okay, so we might get stuck into some searching now, which is one of the favourites in the application, because we've got a couple of nice new features there. So we might just do a search for... yeah, Fred's good. Let's search for Fred. Okay, so this is a search result screen. Okay, there's only one Fred, so probably not the best search, but that's okay. We can just do a blank search as well if we wanted to. You'll have to do that on screen. Okay, so we've got lots of results that have come up on the page. Now hopefully you've noticed that there's a couple of filters that we've been added to the left hand side here. We've got two filters. The first one is event type. So this is where we can say, okay, I only want to see the onboard event types, and the results displayed will then filter and only show you that onboard type. So you can see now that's filtered. The next one across is the stages, and this is where you can select a particular stage you're interested in. So you might want to see all the new hires currently completing their offer, which there aren't any at the moment, maybe offer sent or first review, offer sent, yeah. And then we can see that we've got 2 offers that are currently being sent out to the new hires, and they're currently working on them. And then finally the search as well, so you could filter further if you wanted to and type in Fred, and then only Fred would display. So we've added these filters in to hopefully make it easier for you to manage all the offers in your system. Okay, so we might get stuck into creating an offer because this has changed quite a bit as well. So if we go to create an onboard, yep. So probably the biggest thing to start off with this first screen is obviously the create in the drop down is actually letting you choose straight away which type you want. And now we've got a wizard style. So up in the top right hand corner, you can see we've got the create, details and documents. This steps you through the 3 screens you need to create an offer. And this first screen is just completing the basic information. So Pete's just filling in the form at the moment, creating an offer for Joe Simpson.
April. Fucking type. I should put ST, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Okay, so once we click on the create button, this will then take us to the details screen, which is similar to before, except a couple of changes. The main change being that on this screen, the employment contract is no longer in the top left-hand corner. So this screen is basically focused on you filling in the information. So I'll get Pete to scroll through and fill in any other information that we need to fill in for this role for Joe. You'll probably also notice that the formatting of this page has changed slightly. It's looking more like the candidate portal is than it was previously. Okay, so going on to the next screen, this now takes you to what was previously a hidden away tab that's we basically now made more visible. So we've moved the employment contract to this screen as well, so now you can download the employment contract from here, check if it's okay before going through. Scrolling down a little bit more, the supporting information's here. So this will automatically still have the documents you've had uploaded for the supporting info. But if you want to upload the position description, which a lot of you are doing, this is available on screen now to upload the document more easily. And then scrolling down to the policies, this is a new section that's been added to basically allow you to see what policies that the new hire is going to accept before they sign off. So again, a lot of customers have this configured where only some policies show up for certain groups of new hires. So this way you can just visually check that the right things are getting sent out to the new hire before it gets sent. So that's basically the 3-step process from the event side of things. Now, this process has also been repeated for reviewers. We're not going to take you through that today just because I'm sure you can do that yourselves. It's a bit time consuming, but they basically have the same screens that they go through to review an offer as well. Okay, so we might just cancel that one, Pete, because we don't actually need to send that to Joe. But I might get you just to search for somebody, or so we can go and have a look at an event file.
Okay, can I just look at one of these?
Yeah, one of those is fine.
Look at our one.
Sure. So one of the new concepts we've created is the event file. Now, the event file will basically display if you open or look at an offer and it's not currently with you. So if someone else is working on it, and like in this case, Will is currently the person who has to complete their offer, the event file will display to show you a few things. So the first thing to note in the top left, we've got 4 different tabs now. We've got the summary tab, information, documents and audit trail, which we'll have a look at in a minute. And the available actions for this offer in the top right hand corner. So you can see depending on your permissions and what stage you're in, these different actions will display. But on the first screen, the summary, it basically shows you where this offer is currently at in the workflow. So this is all very new, where you can actually see this is currently, the offer has been sent to Will, and that's where the offer's currently at. But also on the previous steps, you can see when that offer was created and the date it was created and who created it, as well as the review level that it's in and who reviewed it. So you can get that information all in one screen. So if we click across to the information tab, you can see that this is all the information that you could see before on this page, and you can capture all that information. Now this screen does change depending on your permissions, which we're going to talk about permissions a bit more later, but this is either going to be all the information on the employment contract screen or all the information that is part of that offer, including what the candidate completes. So it really just depends on your permissions as to which one you can see. Okay, clicking over to documents. Okay, so in this view, Rick can see the employment contract, the supporting information. Scroll down a little bit, Pete, please. The instructions and the policies. Depending on what stage you're in, you'll also may get forms and your merge documents as well. And that will also depend on your permissions. So permissions are used here as well to basically hide some documents if you don't have the right access to see them. And as I said, we'll talk about permissions a little bit later. And finally, the audit trail. This lists all the actions that have happened to this offer. So you can see the full history here, which you could see previously. It was just tucked away at the bottom of the page. So it's out in a tab now. Okay.
Where do you want to go next?
Next. Okay, so that's basically the event file summed up. So we want to have a look at analytics very quickly as well. Now, as Pete mentioned before, analytics, this is very in its early stages, but we wanted to put some stats out just so you can start seeing a bit of information. So what we've got at this stage is we're showing you the total number of events that have been created for this month, this year, and all time. So if you have multiple modules, it will show up all the modules that you have, showing you the breakdown of those different stats. We have lots of different things coming soon in this space, so stay tuned for that. But if you do have any ideas on things you'd like to see as well, we definitely would like to hear them, because it is an interesting area and good to know, the sorts of information that you'd like to see from the analytics side of things. Okay, so that is most of the things on the back office, the interface that I wanted to show you. So that was one of the big changes with Strawberries and Cream, and I'm going to pass back to Pete to start talking about some of the permission and user changes.
Okay, thanks, Belinda. I'll just get back to my screen. So one of the big things we've done in this release is really beefed up the security and the permission model around HROnboard. And there's two main components to this. One is we've introduced the roles concept and the permissions. So basically, roles restrict what you can do in HROnboard. Can I edit an offer? Can I resend an offer? Can I, do a whole bunch of things at a very granular level? And we'll show you we'll log into the admin and show you that set of permissions. But basically, users can be assigned to one or more roles within HROnboard. And so that really lets you set the ability to have different types of users who may just be an approver versus a recruitment administrator who can see all the offers being created in the system and then what they can do around those offers.
Yeah.
The second component is then at the user level about what events, and remember what we're calling events are an onboard, an offboard, or a contract update. What events you can actually have the right to see. And there's 3 levels here that you can set. The first level is kind of basic, that you can only see your own events. So if you create an offer, you can see that offer and no one else's. The second level is that basically you can see all events in the system. And then the third one is an interesting one and quite a powerful option, is that we can define groups and you can see events in that group. This is really good if you've got recruitment going on in different states. So you might want New South Wales to only see the recruiters in New South Wales to only see the offers they're creating and not the offers that are being created in Queensland. So users can have that scope of that they can only see events that are being created there. If the group function has been turned on, when you go to create an offer or an offboard, you'll be prompted about what group you want that offer to be under. But that'll only show up if that's been turned on for you. So I think we wanted to just quickly show that in admin. And I know a lot of you probably, at the moment, if there's changes to anything in HROnboard, basically we're doing that through as a support activity at the moment. in our next release, we want to start releasing more self-service admin functions so that you can do this yourself. And today we kind of want to show you what that actually looks like. So if I go into full screen, I know we do have a question on analytics, but we'll come back to that one. So hopefully, here we go. So what I'm logging into here is the admin component that currently only the Navigo support staff see, but we're hoping to expose a lot more of the admin components to our customers such that they can self-service. We need to do a little bit more cleaning up in there before Belinda's totally happy with it, I should say. But if we go down to user management, we've got this concept now of users. I'll go into the roles, which is really where previously these roles were hard-coded in the system and the permissioning underneath these roles were kind of hard-coded or not very changeable. If we now look at, say, the HR role, we can go into here and see a really granular, all the permissions that are assigned to this role, and we've categorized this at the moment into like offer management. So can they create offers? Can they import offers? Can they edit offers? And so on. So we can really fine-tune the permissions around certain roles. We then go into who can approve an offer, and then who can process the offer, and some system admin features. So do you want to?
Yeah, so there's probably, this is very powerful because I've had a lot of customers have the requirement where they wanted to have a user that can create offers but also mark them as processed. They are sort of throughout the whole scheme of things. And up until now, we've had to basically create multiple users for them to be able to do both of these tasks. With Strawberries and Cream, we can actually change it so that user can have access to do all those things in the one account, which is very exciting. We've also got to break down a lot more of what you can and can't do. So previously I have had quite a few requests as well that they want, say, the HR user to be able to delete offers where previously they couldn't. So that sort of granularity now we can say, okay, these group of people can do it and these can't, and take permissions off as well. Probably the other powerful thing with the roles is just that we can create more if we need to as well. So we have a standard list basically of the common use cases, but if you have very different requirements, we can add as many different roles or remove them as we need to as well. So it is very flexible.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to show a back office user.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Betty.
That's Betty.
Betty, our payroll user. So now in here we talk about the group. If we are setting up group access, about what group they have. We do have a kind of a default group that's activated, but it's kind of not visible to most people. And then this record visibility about what offers they can see. So that's whether they can see all offers, their self offers.
Yes.
So that's configurable in the administration section.
Correct. Yes.
So let's talk about, from they're kind of the main features of the Strawberries and Cream release. The Strawberries and Cream release has been really good because it's kind of the beginning of a whole lot of changes we want to do to the application, particularly about giving you, the customers, more access to do things yourself. We really want to do that. Not only is it going to make, as we grow and get more customers using HROnboard, it's also going to reduce the support function, but obviously give you that more power over your own configuration. So in terms of what's coming this year, that's a big one, admin self-service, and it's a gradual rollout of those features. Probably the hardest feature for us to give you full access to is what we call the dynamic contract builder, which is really the brains behind those dynamic employment contracts in HROnboard. It's quite a complicated piece of configuration, and our challenge is to make that more and more easier, such that you can use it with a minimal amount of training. More analytics. We've really just started into that analytics space. We have a real wealth of information in HROnboard, not just about what you're doing as a particular customer, but across all of our customers, the average time to onboard. There's a lot of aggregate type data we can pull across our whole customer range, which will, just give you some really deep insights about onboarding across Australia and New Zealand, really, but also then at your own organisational level. So we're really interested in feedback in that. Part of the analytics is also being able to get information out of HROnboard easier. So we want to have options to export to CSV from a lot of those search screens that you can see. We just want to have it export to CSV so you can take that data down into a spreadsheet and manipulate that for yourselves for reporting purposes. The other thing we're looking at is splitting the acceptance of a job offer from actually the form completion. So what this means is that you might have an option where you want someone just to say, yes, I accept this job and I'll do my super and tax forms later, but you've got that acceptance from the candidate that they want to start the job, and they can do those forms later. About that acceptance, we want to make that acceptance as easy as possible for the candidate while still being a legally binding contract. So we're looking at options about how they can accept that contract directly from their phone, directly from the SMS message that gets sent out to the candidate, and things like that. So that, to us, particularly in blue collar industries, where you don't have to go check your email to accept the offer, you just accept it straight from your phone. What that leads into is task management. We know this is a really big requirement and big wish list item for a lot of people. And this is something, what we see as task management is tasks not only for candidates, but anyone internally, whether that's IT, an individual, a department, someone needs to do something. There might be pre-acceptance and post-acceptance tasks. So again, there's critical things you want both internally and the candidate to do before they accept the offer, but then there's also tasks that can happen after they've accepted, but hopefully before day one. And then you want to apply some sort of task templates to make that assignment really easy based on role, location, or any other logic. And of course, with any task management, you probably want what I like to call the nag factor. You want some reminders, and you need to put some due dates on that. So that's kind of what we're planning this year. What we find when we're looking at what to do in terms of the development roadmap, we don't like to go out too far in terms of where we're going, because we're really agile and we take that feedback from both our existing customer base and other organisations that we're out there talking to about our solution. And it's been a real interesting process over the last 12 or 18 months that features we thought we needed to have just aren't being used or not requested, while other things we didn't think were important were. So we continue to have that real agile approach to including what's in and what's out, and it seems to be working really well. So look, that's pretty much all what's coming that we can share with you at this moment. What's in Strawberries and Cream? Strawberries and Cream will be released into the production environments next Tuesday. I repeat, there's no difference to what the candidates will see in their onboarding experience. So that the whole candidate, what we call the candidate portal, remains exactly as you've got it configured. It's only your internal users of HROnboard who will see a difference to the interface. We're really aware of trying to create minimal impact with these releases. This was one release where there is a big change to the user interface, but in future releases they'll just be very incremental in terms of changes. But this was a much required improvement to the back office and really creates that foundation piece for us. Look, we want to thank all of our amazing customers, and this is not inclusive of every customer we have. I couldn't fit them all on one slide. But without the support of the customers, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we've had some great feedback, some great stories about how you're using the product, the feedback you're getting from candidates, the savings you're getting in the back office. We love to hear all that. We love to hear more examples about what candidates are saying, what things we could be doing to improve the product and to get more value from you and your organisations. So thank you today. We'll take any questions if people have got questions. We'd love if you think HROnboard is great to tell a friend. We really appreciate referrals, and the more customers we have, the better we can make the product and keep rolling out features to you seamlessly every month or every couple of months. So thank you for your time today. I'll just go to our questions. I think we had one about analytics. In the analytics, when you have this year, does that mean in the last 12 months or a specified period?
Yes, so this is the current calendar year. So
Okay.
it's not a rolling year, and that's the same with this month as well. It is the current month, not a rolling period. So yeah, it's this year,
Okay,
2015.
excellent. Another question is, do we need to do any testing before the release? Now, that's a good question.
It's a good question. So we have tested it very thoroughly, obviously. I would always recommend to customers, especially since this is a change from an interface perspective, that it is a good idea to have a look through
The trial environment.
the trial environment, check the changes out, and your configuration as well.
So most customers, pretty much all of our customers have a non-production environment of HROnboard.
Most
Yep.
do, yes.
Yep.
Yep. There are a couple of exceptions. So yeah, definitely strongly recommend that you do have a chance to have a bit of a play around. You don't have to test every single piece of functionality or anything like that. We've done that. But it is a good idea to just check your configuration and just double check it before it goes into production is probably
So everyone has and Strawberries and Cream has been released to their trial environment, was released yesterday. So if you log into your trial environments, if you don't know the URL, you can contact support, but you can log into that and have a look at how that looks with your configuration in place.
Yeah.
And the actual release date is next
the 31st.
The 31st of March, which is next Tuesday. Yep, so that'll be when you log in next Tuesday morning, it will be there in production. Yep, same URL, nothing changes from that perspective. Yep. Okay, so thank you everyone. Have a great day and keep giving us your feedback, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Belinda.
That's okay.